So this past weekend, I took a pistol course called Limited Signature Handgun, where we shot about 500 rounds through our everyday carry pistols from concealment, and that was with my P365 XMacro. It was a great handgun. It served me very, very well for the sake of the course. Again, only about 500 rounds, so total through this pistol, I probably have about 1,000 rounds so far, and I just wanted to go over my experience with it because there is some things to note. Now, my particular setup, I'm running a TLR7 sub with a Holosun 407K, which is the smaller of the two available dots between the 407 and the 507K. And then I have some knockoff goon tape here, which there's no reason to buy the expensive kind. You can just get hockey tape on Amazon or whatever kind of tape you have lying around. And this is the ported model as well. The slide is ported, not the barrel, so the barrel only goes to about here, 3 and some inches, and the rest of the slide is ported, so you do get a bit of concussion there. We were doing some drills from compression, from retention, and I was getting a lot of shit in my face. Oftentimes you'll see guys getting shavings from the inside of their ports into their eyeballs, underneath their glasses, and that did happen to me once. Nothing into the eye, fortunately, but it got rather close, so that was a little bit uncomfortable. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. I'm also using this $20 holster from Crossbreed. Now, I didn't buy this directly from Crossbreed. It's from a website called Crossbreed Seconds, and what they do is they take returned holster models, and obviously this is custom because it's Kydex molded to this particular handgun setup, TLR7 sub specific with an optic cut, and they resell them. So it's a really fantastic website. I'm going to link it down below, and you can check it out. You'll probably find a $60, $80, $100 holster for $70, $80 off the retail price. Now, anyway, onto the pistol. Most of the guys in this class were using full size or compact pistols. Now, obviously, despite the 17 round capacity of the 365 XMacro, it is not a full size pistol. So compared to something like a Glock 19 or a Glock 17, you're going to notice that this frame is quite a bit smaller. Now, lengthwise, as far as this goes here, you're going to be about the same size as a Glock 19, maybe a little bit less, just a hair. However, as I said, the thickness of the frame remains to be quite a bit smaller, despite the 17 round capacity of the magazines that SIG was able to accomplish here, which is a marvel of engineering in my opinion. With that being said, the effectiveness of this pistol versus something like Glock 19, Glock 17, Smith & Wesson full size, Smith & Wesson compact, both in 9mm, it's noticeable. The guys who were running full-size pistols, even who were not as skilled weapons handlers, manipulators, and shooters as I was, which wasn't many of the guys. A lot of the guys there were extremely, extremely capable. Even those guys were looking like they were able to run these drills a little bit easier than I was with this pistol. Now, it's not to say that it wasn't easy, because I have a little bit of time behind the dot, and I have a little bit of time with smaller pistols. I used to run a Glock 26 as my main ADC, so upgrading to this was very nice. However, there's a noticeable contrast between running a smaller pistol like this versus a full-size, full-frame thickness Glock 19 or Glock 17. You're going to notice that it's a little bit harder to get behind the gun. It's a little bit harder to get that full master grip when you draw from concealment. You might have to adjust on the draw out. You're also going to notice it's a little bit harder to control recoil, because if you don't have that good master grip, and even if you do, the over gripping of the pistol, if you have big hands like I do, or just slightly above average hands, the over gripping of the pistol sometimes can screw up your, I don't know how I can put this, but over gripping the pistol can screw you up a little bit. So you might notice that recoil control can be an issue sometimes. And what also I've noticed to be an issue is when you're engaging and you go to break the trigger, a lot of times, because of the over gripping of the pistol, because the small size of the frame, small thickness of the frame, I find myself over gripping the trigger. So I'll see myself, I'm exaggerating here, but I'll see myself over gripping with the finger placement, and I'll be way outside, and then I'll end up driving that pistol out, and my shot will drift. So obviously when you grip a pistol and when you pull the trigger, you want to be using the pad of your finger right here and want to be pulling straight back. But because the grip is smaller, I'll find myself over wrapping on the trigger and sometimes pulling my shots one way or the other. Now that is notable. However, it's small difference between that and something like a Glock 45 or Glock 19, 17, what have you, because those issues are still obviously able to happen there. Now, to fix that, you can get a back strap that's a bit larger on a pistol like this, but I've opted to just keep it like this for now and just get adjusted to it how it is instead of constantly switching and making changes that I have to adapt to. Now, drawing from concealment is another thing besides getting that master grip. The small size of the grip makes it a little bit tough. I often find myself scraping my abdomen with my thumb just because the frame is a little bit smaller and I'm wrapping my finger around a little bit farther, trying to get completely underneath it. And sometimes I'll find my pinky hanging over if I'm not completely choked up on the beaver tail of the pistol as I should be. Besides that, it was a really good pistol. I was able to run it pretty fast. Reloads were pretty decent, not too difficult. I didn't feel like I needed the beveled magwell, although I think I'm going to pick one up and just give it a shot. But overall, it treated me pretty well. Concealability-wise, it's pretty effective, despite the large grip. Again, I keep harping on that, but it is a large grip for a compact pistol, or whatever category you want to put this new hybrid of compact, full-size, full-capacity pistols in. So getting a beveled magwell here might impede that concealability a little bit, even though it's already more difficult to conceal than a regular 365 or an XL or something like a Glock 26 like I used to conceal, which you could almost never see. You will notice printing with this depending on the kind of shirt you wear. I'm not a big guy, I'm not a massive guy, but I'm also not a small guy. I'm pretty muscular. I'm about 185 pounds, very lean, and about 6 feet tall, 5'11". So this pistol is very concealable for me, but at times I notice printing, although at the class that wasn't much of a concern. And I don't think anyone noticed any printing from me, as opposed to the rest of the guys in the course who some of them were running completely full-size handguns. So overall, I know I've kind of touched on a lot of the negative points of this pistol so far, but just to brush over the positives, it's a very, very shootable pistol. Despite the obvious difference that I noticed as a more experienced shooter between this and a normal full-size, duty-size compact pistol, it did very, very well. I was able to burn drills down with it. I was able to run it very, very fast. However, I wasn't able to get such great hits that the guys who were running full-size pistols were. Maybe if I dialed it back a little bit and didn't try to burn it down so much, then I would have gotten better hits. Concealability is much better than a full-size pistol. It's a little bit better than Glock 19, obviously, because these are about the same length here, but the thickness is a little bit smaller. Again, not something like a 26 or a 365, but you're going to get great shit out of it regardless. And the price isn't too bad either. I mean, for almost $1,000, you're getting a smaller, more concealable pistol with 17 rounds, more than a Glock 19 for about the same length in the grip. And yeah, I mean, I'm just overall very, very happy with it. It did really well in the class. I'm going to continue to carry it for a long time. And if anything, if I end up switching to any pistol, it may be the new AXG Legion metal model. So hopefully that was informative as to whether or not you're going to want to buy this pistol. I had a great time with it. It served me really well just through the first 1,000 rounds that I've shot with it. And I'm going to shoot a lot more with it.